In the earlier class, we have seen how to manage the session using hidden form fields. Okay, just from login.html page, we go to the control is transferred to from login.html. The control is being transferred to a servlet, login servlet. Okay, in the login servlet, we have a form. Okay, in the form basically there are two fields that are visible, first name and last name. Okay, and again what I am doing is just I am going for two approaches to add hidden form fields. Okay, one approach is just I am going for request.getParameter names. Request.getParameter names will give you a enumeration of names of request parameters. Okay, enumeration of names of request parameters. That means the enumeration is something like a iterator for collections. Okay, we can tell like it is a old iterator. Okay, it is a previous form, earlier form of iterator. Okay, iterator was not there in the very first versions of Java, but for the whatever the purpose that we use iterator, for the same purpose we use enumeration. Understood? For whatever the purpose we use iterator, for the same purpose we use enumeration, but now they are not. Now developers are not using enumeration. Now developers are using iterator. But earlier days, developer used to use this enumeration for iteration purposes. Okay? So request.getParameter names will give you a enumeration. Okay, and what we do is, let's consider that there are two request parameter names, username and password. These are submitted from login servlet to first servlet. Sorry, login.html to login servlet. Okay, in the login servlet, okay, what we do is, okay, in the login servlet, what we do is, first what we do is, we create an enumeration based on request parameter names. So there will be an enumeration. There will be an enumeration on request parameter names. What this enumeration contains? This enumeration contains now let's consider like this is login.html page where it has username field and password field and submit button. Click on submit, the control will come to login servlet. The control will come to login servlet. In the login servlet, we have two more visible fields: first name, last name. Okay, what we do is, using this enumeration, request parameters enumeration, okay, what we do is, we try to add hidden form fields to that form. We try to add hidden form fields to this form. If we click on next, it will go to the next page. This is a form. To this form we add hidden form fields. How we are adding hidden form fields means, we are getting an enumeration of request parameters. So we have enumeration of request parameters. Okay. The first value is username. Second value is password. This is the enumeration of request parameters. We are iterating this enumeration, and how we can iterate enumeration means, like iterator, in iterator we have has next and next. Okay, In enumeration we have has next element and next element. Okay, so in the first iteration username will be fetched. So how we will do is, this is the code. Okay, in the first iteration username will, in the first there are two request parameter names here, username and password. So in the first iteration, let's try to explain this template. So first, in the first iteration, okay, param name is okay. What is the param name? Username. Okay, and what will be printed? What is the content that is printed? Okay, input type equal to text, name equal to, okay, and what is the param name? Username. Username, and again open single quote, value equal to close single quote. Okay, again what is the value here? Request dot get parameter of value. Let's consider like the username that I have given is Ravi. Okay, again Ravi will come through this request dot get parameter of name. Again we will close the single quote. Understood how it will be? Again in the same way, this is how we develop hidden form fields dynamically. Okay, in the same way, in the second iteration the param name is password. Okay, again we go for password, value is 1 2 3. So now there are, from login servlet to first servlet, how many fields are submitted? Let's consider like in the form of login servlet we have two visible fields, first name and last name. There are two visible fields, first name and last name. Okay, now how many request parameters will be submitted from login servlet to first servlet? From login servlet to first servlet we submit a form. In that form how many request parameters will be there? See, this is the login servlet. In the login servlet we have two hidden form fields and two visible fields, first name and last name. How many request parameters will be submitted from login servlet to first servlet? Here what happened is, two visible parameters are there. This is the login servlet. In this login servlet two visible parameters are there, first name and last name. Along with these two visible parameters, what we do is, we have added two hidden parameters. Input type equal to hidden, name equal to username, value equal to value. These two hidden parameters, input type equal to password, input type equal to hidden, name equal to password, value equal to 1. So these two hidden parameters, okay, these two hidden form fields, okay, are being added through servlet code. dynamically. These are being added through servlet code dynamically. Understood? Okay, this is one of the approach of iteration. Okay, let me see the second approach. Let me see the second approach. Okay, now let's.
When it will iterate for the hidden fields, then the text will the input type will be text here.
Sorry, I have given text, but it should not be text. It should be hidden. A good point. It should be hidden. Input type should be hidden for hidden form fields. Okay, it was my mistake. Input type should be hidden for hidden form fields. Okay, and let me use a second approach. Okay, now in the second approach what we are doing is we are getting the request parameter map. We are getting the request parameter map. Okay, in the request parameter map, what it will give? It will give a map whose key is name of the request parameter, whose value is a string array which contains values of request parameter. The same request parameter can have multiple values. Okay, the same request parameter can have multiple values. So it is a value is a string array, key is a string. Key is the name of the request parameter. The string array is the value of the request parameter. Now let's consider like we have two keys and two values. Now let me go for the second approach. Username and password are submitted from login.html to we submit username and password, and in login servlet. In login servlet, we submit first name, last name, but along with this first name and last name, we maintain username and password as hidden form field, so that session will be maintained. So now let me use the second approach of iteration, where we are iterating the elements using a for loop. So first what we do is we'll get request.get parameter map. Okay, request.get parameter map, what it will do? Okay, request.get parameter map, what it will do means it will return a map. It will return a map. What that map contains means the map contains okay, the key as a string and value as a string array. Key is the request parameter name, value is the values of request parameter. Username is the key which is single, and values is a array. The same request parameter can have multiple values. Let's consider like in the login.html page, this username appears twice. Then there will be two values for the same parameter. Okay, this will be like that. Password is now like this it will be. Okay, let's consider like in login.html we have two username fields. In the first username field we have given Ravi. In the second username field we have given Rajesh. Okay, understood? So both of them has the same name. So those two values Ravi and Rajesh will go as request parameter values to the same parameter name. So here two values will be there, Ravi and Rajesh, and password is the same, Ravi. So now this is the parameter map which contains two entries. This is the first entry and this is the second entry. This is the first entry and this is the second entry. Now, what we do is we iterate this map, okay, by creating an entry set. How the entry set will be means? The entry set will have, okay, entry set will have multiple entries. Entry set will have multiple entries, so each and every entry will be there as a set. Okay, in this set, one entry object will be there, the second entry object will be there, okay. Now, what entry set method of a map will do means, okay, it will convert the map into a set of entries. It will convert the values of the map into a set of entry objects. Entry set method of a map will convert key value pairs of map key value pairs of map into a set of entry objects. Entry set method will convert key value pairs of a map into set of entry objects. So, it will convert it into a set of entry objects. A set of entry objects, and each and every entry has a key and value. What is the data type of a key? String, and value is a string array. Understood? So, now we have a set of entries. Okay, as we told, entry is a inner class in the map interface. Entry is a inner class in the map interface. Entry is a inner class in the map interface. We have already discussed about these maps, entries and all iterations in the earlier classes. But yes, I am reiterating them. That's it. So, what we do is, we have a set of entry objects. Set of entry objects. Each and every entry object will represent the key value pair. Understood? Understood, everybody? What this set will contain, and what is the entry object? Understood? What, Sharad? Got it? So, each and every entry contains a key value pair. The key is a string, value is a string array. So, there might be, if there are 10 key value pairs, what is the size of this set? If there are 10 key value pairs, what is the size of this set? 10, the same size. So, each and every key value pair of the map will be there as an entry in this set. Understood? So, this set contains 10 entry objects. Each and every entry object will represent a key value pair in the map. Okay? So, now each and every entry will have a key and a value. Okay? So, key of the entry is the key of the map, value of the entry is value of the map. Okay? Now, this set has two elements. First entry, second entry. Understood? So, what we do is, we iterate this set. In the first iteration, we get first entry. In the second iteration, we get second entry. Okay? In the first iteration, what we do? We maintain a hidden param. So, input type equal to text, name equal to, okay? So, what is the value of hidden param is? This I am reflecting the code value. Okay, it should be not. It should not be input type equal to text. It should be input type equal to hidden. Okay. Name equal to. Okay, what is the key of this first entry? So in the first iteration, first entry will come. What is the key of first entry? Username. So the first entry key is username. Okay. Okay, and value is in single quotes. Okay, this is the hidden param logic. So it contains value up to value equal to singular, input type equal to hidden, name equal to something, and value equal to something. It will contain up to this. Okay. So again, in the next line, what we are doing? We are getting the parameter values of that key. So entry dot get value. So what is the value of the first entry? A string array which contains values Rajesh, Ravi, and Rajesh. So what it is doing is it is iterating the param value. It is iterating the param value and out.println of hidden param plus param value plus something. What is the hidden param value? This. Okay, this is the hidden param value. So hidden param plus what is the param value in the first iteration? What is the param value in the first iteration? What we do is we get an array of parameter values. This array is this. Okay, and in the first iteration, what will come? Ravi. So in the first iteration, Ravi will come, and the value is Ravi. Okay, and close the single quote. Okay, and close the brace. Close the tag. Understood? So again, what is the size of this array? What is the size of this param values? 2. Okay. So again in the second iteration, the same thing happens. Okay. Hidden param plus param value plus close tag. So again hidden param value is the same. Okay. Now again, what is the param value in the second iteration? Rajesh. Understood? Understood what we have done? So value is Rajesh. Close it. So now from this form we are submitting 4 values. Okay. From this form we are submitting 4 values. That are input type equal to hidden username, password. Sorry, again, this is the first request parameter, and the second entry is password. Okay. In the same way, we have password entry, which has the same. Now, hidden param name is password in the second iteration. Okay, and value equal to something. And what is the size of param values now? What is the size of param values in the second for the second entry? What is the size of param values for the second entry? What is the size? Only 1. Understood? What here? You should respond something. Again and again I am telling. It's not the correct way. Did you get why it is 1? Why the size is 1? What did you understand? Speak out. Tell in Telugu. What did you understand? You do not understand what I am telling? Yes or no? At least tell that. Speak out, man. Did you understand what I am telling? Yes or no? Yes? Sure? Sure? So, again, okay, there is another parameter, there is this, for the second entry, the hidden param is input type equal to hidden, the name is password and value equal to something, okay. Then it will come here, param value is equal to entry dot get value. Now entry dot get value, the value is array of some array which contains only one element, okay. So what is the size of this array then? What is the size of param values array? What is the size of this array? Only one, okay, just because it contains only one element, okay. So it will be iterated only once and the value will be understood? So there are three hidden parameters now. Two for the same request parameter name username, but another is for password. Understood? This is how we can use this request parameter map concept, okay, to add hidden form fields. Then we had discussed two approaches. Which one is better? The earlier enumeration or this one? Hmm?
This is for everything if we have multiple
Oh. This approach, the first approach is not that much advisable, just because we should again check has next element and all. Okay, but again, if there are 100 request parameters, again and again we should get request dot get parameter and get parameter. So rather than doing that, this is a better approach. So what I'll do is just I'll remove the first one. Just I'll go for second one only. Okay. So understood how we can add hidden form fields dynamically in a Servlet code? Understood everybody? Just it should be hidden. Just if you want to write this code. And while writing, just try to understand what we have done. Just try to understand and try to correlate with my explanation. Try to correlate with my explanation. Just while writing, try to correlate this logic with our explanation. No, no, no. See, in double quotes, the value is there, no? The actual value will go is like this only, right? So, the actual value is name equal to and username. Okay, and just it is a string. The value of the string will go, right? Huh? Oh, so I'll apply the same logic in the remaining servlets also. Okay, just while going from first servlet to second servlet also. I'll apply the same logic. I'll apply the same logic while going from first servlet to second servlet. Okay. In the second servlet, just okay, just I'll print the request parameter names and their values. Okay. Entry dot get key will give you the name of the parameter. Okay. Colon. Okay. the parameter value will be entry dot get value will give you the parameter value, which is separated by comma. So how it will come means the output, final output will come as username colon the values. Okay, understood? So the key is username colon the values are Ravi in the first iteration, Rajesh in the second iteration. In the same way, for the second entry, password colon the value. Understood? Understood how it will be printed? So here what we are doing, we are iterating the parameters. Okay, we are iterating the parameters in the same way. Okay, so in the first out.println, what we are doing, let's consider like these parameters, this contains okay some entries like username is an entry, sorry, username, okay, username and their values. Okay, the second entry is the first request parameter is username, the second request parameter is password. Okay, and value is 1 2 3. Again, first name and last name. Okay, first name and last name. Again, mobile and email ID. These are the request parameter names and their values that exist here. Okay. Okay, so now what we do is we iterate them and we will print the values. So in the first iteration, what happens? What is the key in the first iteration? The key is username and the values are Ravi, Rajesh. So entry in the first iteration, what we do? Out.println of entry.get key semicolon, sorry, colon. So the entry.get key will give you username colon. Again, what we are doing is we are retrieving the param values. Okay, the param values is this array, just because entry dot get value. Okay, we are iterating this array, and printing each and every value separated by commas. The same thing we are doing. We are iterating this array. Sorry, should not be like this. Just we are iterating this array and we are printing each and every value separated by comma. So iteration of this array, printing each and every value separated by comma. Understood? In the same way, password okay, understood how we will do? Okay, so now username and password, are these values entered in this first servlet? Do we enter username and password in the first servlet? No. Username and password are entered in login.html from login.html they will be transferred as request parameters to login servlet. From login servlet they will be added as hidden form fields so that they will go as request parameters from login servlet to first servlet. In first servlet also they will be added as hidden parameters so that from first servlet they will go as request parameters to second servlet. So the actual values are entered only in login page, login.html, but those values are available in second servlet. So is that values maintained in the session? Yes or no? Yes. Just because those values are entered in the login.html will be available in the second servlet. So basically request parameters by default they will be available only to that request. But from login.html to login servlet is one request, login servlet to first servlet is another request, first servlet to second servlet is another request. So whatever the values that we enter in login.html, that values are available even in second servlet. So here the session is being maintained using hidden form fields. Understood? This is how it happens. Now, understood how we can maintain a session using hidden form fields? Everybody? Everybody? Yes or no? What, Babu? Did you understand how we can manage session using hidden form fields? Tell yes or no. Where you did not get the thing? Speak out. Where you did not get exactly? Huh? Huh? First servlet. In the first servlet, what we have done? We have done the same thing, right? You did not understand this portion? Did you understand this portion? Did you understand this portion or not? Yes? Yes? Then what is there in the first servlet then? See, from login servlet, from login.html, username and password will be sent to the login servlet. From login servlet, what happens? First name, last name, and hidden parameters. Username and password will be sent to the first servlet. So, how many parameters will be sent to the first servlet now? How many parameters will be sent from login servlet to first servlet? 4. 2 hidden parameters, username and password. 2 visible parameters, first name and last name. So, now here 4 request parameters will be there: username, password, first name, and last name. So, these will come as request parameters from login servlet to first servlet. In the first servlet, what we have? We have a form. Okay. In this form, we have 2 fields. Okay. One is mobile, second is email ID. So let me have these 2 fields. Okay. Mobile, email ID. And submit. If you click on submit, the control will go to second servlet. Understood? So, how many request parameters will be there in the first servlet? 4. Username, password, first name and last name. So, those 4 request parameters will be added as hidden parameters. Input type equal to hidden, name equal to username, value equal to submit. The same way, input type equal to hidden, name equal to password, value equal to something. The same way, input type equal to hidden, name equal to first name, Understand? So the 4 request parameters, even hidden parameters, hidden form fields, even hidden form fields will be submitted as request parameters in a form. So here form 4 request parameters are there. Those 4 request parameters again added as request parameters while submitting from first servlet to second servlet. Understood? Now how many parameters will be submitted from first servlet to second servlet? 6. 4 hidden form fields, 2 belong to login HTML, 2 belong to login servlet, okay, and 2 visible fields. So this is how. So this is login page where we enter username and password. Okay. Now these values will be submitted because of the request that is submitted from login.html to login servlet. Now are these username and password available in the second servlet? Yes, the values that we entered are available in this second servlet. Now, are these values available beyond the request? Beyond the request means, okay, that are available in request other than the request that is submitted. Okay, through which request we are entering the values from login.html to login servlet. Okay. Is that value available other than that request? What I am asking is, now username and password are submitted from login.html to login page, login server. Now, would we be able to access that username and password value in this request? Yes. So that is what session management is. The values that we enter in one request will be available in some other request for the same user. That is what session is. Understand? In general scenarios, we go for Gmail. Only for the first time we log in. When we compose a mail or we delete a mail or we change the settings of our Gmail, do we log in again and again? Do we log in again and again if we compose a mail and send a mail in Gmail? Understood my question? Do we log in again and again whenever we compose a mail in Gmail? Yes? Do we log in? First, what we do is we enter username and password and then login the application. Homepage will be displayed. When we compose a new mail, do we again log in into Gmail? No. How the request parameters, username and password that are submitted in the first page are submitted in compose page means compose page is another page, another request. Username password is another page and another request. How the values of that first request are available in the second request means through session management. Okay? And this is one of the approaches. This is one of the approaches that we can achieve session management. Understood? Now, let me execute this application. Okay, right now we did not execute this application yet. So, let me try to execute this. Third Java means all the Java files are coming. Package map doesn't exist. It is telling this error just because map is the interface in Java.util package and we did not import that in the first servlet as well as second servlet. So we need to import that map. okay, which is there in the util package. In second select also, we should import the map which is there in the util package. One java.lambda object. So we need to typecast it. Just one change here. Actually, the return type here is object, so we need to typecast into map. Again, let me try this and explain. So, just what I did is, it was a small modification. Okay, just note down this. Just okay. Just strike out the earlier example that you have written. Actually, the request parameter map has a little bit modification. Just we need to typecast it into a map of string and string array. So now if we compile the application, it was compiled successful. Let me try to execute the application in Tomcat server. Okay, the server is started. Let me access the application. Okay, there are two username fields. Okay, so let me enter Ravi. Rajesh 123. Okay, now if I click on submit, is there any mistake here? Huh? So, XML file mapping is done. But the problem here is, see, whatever the content that we have displayed in outward println, just it is displayed as a plain text. The same problem that we had earlier faced. Let me keep it at the end. I'm not sure why it happens like this. Let me see for other circuits also. Let's compile. Just first should be HTML tag. Before HTML tag, earlier how we used to have means, before HTML tag we used to print inside login servlet. But that should be actually in the body of the HTML, just because this is the body of the web page. So this should be in the body. The starting tag of any HTML page should be HTML tag. That was the problem earlier. Let me stop the server. So we have made some changes. Start the server. Compile the application and start the server and refresh the browser. Let me refresh the browser with values. So input type equal to text, generate text. In login servlet, I had it input type equal to hidden. But why those? Sorry, this HIDDN. Spelling is mistake. It should be HIDDN, but I have written HIDDN. Spelling is mistake. So if type is not matching with any HTML types, standard HTML types, by default HTML will consider that as a text only. I have given HIDDEN, so it is not matching with any existing HTML types. So if the content of type doesn't match with any existing HTML types, then the default type that is taken by the web browsers is text only. Okay, understood what I am telling? By default, the type of any form field will be text. Okay, so earlier I have given HIDDEN. So it is a wrong word. HIDDEN is the actual word. So HIDDEN is existing type in HTML. HIDDEN doesn't exist. So since it doesn't exist by default, that field will be considered as a input field, text field. So if I submit the form, so inside login servlet, first name and last name are there. Okay, but I don't have any values here. And if I go to next, from login servlet it will go to first servlet. In the first servlet we have mobile number and email ID. Okay, we have mobile number and email ID. So I'll give the mobile number, email ID. Now last name is Reddy, username is Ravi and Rajesh. Okay, email ID is aa@bb.com. First name is Ravindra, password is 123, mobile is something. So now what we have done, these values we have entered in login.html. So username, password, the second username is, this we have entered in login.html, which will be available only to this request by default. Okay, but only for this request it should be available. But if we submit this first name and last name, and when I submit here, by default are those username and password available here? By default are those username and password available to this request when I click on next? Understood my question? By default are username and password values available in this request if I click on next? By default it will not be available. Okay, it will be available now just because we have maintained them as hidden form fields. By default, the request parameters that we entered here will be available only to this request. So username and password will be available only to this request when I click on submit. When I click on submit, it will go to the servlet, and when I click on next, it will send another request. For this request, the previous request values will not be available by default, just because request parameters will be available only to that request. But you have to overcome that. Okay, if you want some values beyond the requests in some other requests, then what we do is we maintain the session. Now we have maintained the session using hidden form fields. Understand? So by default only first name and last name will be submitted in this form. But in this form we have added two more fields, two more hidden fields, username and password. Next. By default, mobile number and email ID will be available in this form. But we have added 4 hidden fields, username, password, first name, last name in this form. So totally how many parameters are submitted from this page? 6. Username, password, 4 hidden parameters, 2 visible parameters, mobile number and email ID. Understand? So So these values, first name, last name, username, password, all these values are maintained in the session through hidden form fields. Understood the session management concept? So, and the second approach of achieving session management, the first approach of achieving session management is through hidden form fields. But there is a disadvantage of using hidden form fields. Let's consider that we have gone to login.html. Okay, we enter username, password. Okay, submit. So some hidden form fields will be available. Let me submit from this page. To second page. Now we can see in the browser address bar, if you go for view page source, right click on the browser address bar and go for view page source. Okay, if you right click on browser address bar and view the page source, we can see all the hidden parameters. Am I right? Now can we see the password? Can we see the password? Yes. So is it secure? No. Using hidden parameters to maintain session is not secure. That's the first thing. The first disadvantage of using hidden parameters. The first disadvantage of using hidden parameters is the values will not be secured. Values will not be secured. Okay, and how we can tell that it is not secured means if you right click on your website, okay, and go for view source, we can see all the values if you use hidden parameters. The second thing is it's a lengthy process to append the request parameters in each and every form. Let's consider like if there are 10 forms. First form submit second, second to third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. So when we go for first to second, we submit the values. When you go for second to third, we should submit the values of the second form as well as first form also. When you submit from third to fourth, we should send the values of first and second as hidden parameters and third form values. And from fourth to fifth means we should submit first, second and third as hidden and from fourth to fifth. Like that. So it is a repetitive and what we can tell. It will reduce the performance. Okay? It's a repetitive job. For each and every request we need to add hidden parameters and it will reduce the performance. It's a repetitive job to add request parameters in each and every request or to add hidden parameters in each and every request, and so that it will reduce the performance. So in general, in many of the cases, hidden form fields will not be used to maintain a session because of these reasons. Less security, more code. We need to write a heavy code or we need to execute more code to achieve this session management using hidden form fields. And the two, we need to develop that for each and every request. Okay? From first to second, request parameters will be submitted. From second to third, we should write some code to add first request parameters also. First select request parameters also. From second to third, then we should add request parameters of the first request and second request. So it will be a redundant or repetitive code. Okay. For these reasons, okay, we won't use these hidden parameters in general. In general, we won't use these request parameters. Sorry, hidden parameters or hidden form fields to manage the session. Okay. So the next technique of maintaining the session is, what is the second one? URL rewriting. The second technique of session tracking or session management is URL rewriting. The second technique is URL rewriting. URL rewriting. URL rewriting. Okay. So the main name itself tells that we will rewrite the URL. We will rewrite the URL. Okay. Now what we do is, now we are in login.html. Okay. We have username and password fields. Okay. Which will be submitted to login servlet. In login servlet we have first name, last name fields, which will be submitted to first servlet, and from first servlet to second servlet we have mobile number, email ID. Okay, which will be submitted to second servlet. Okay, this is our sequence of execution. Okay, now by default username and password will not be available in first servlet and second servlet. They will be available only in login servlet. If you make them to available, make those values to be available in first servlet and second servlet, that is what session management is. And if we from login servlet to first servlet, first name and last name will be available. If you make that first name and last name even available even in second servlet, then that is session management. Okay, we have seen that session management through hidden form fields. Now we will see through URL rewriting. Okay, so now username and password will be submitted to login servlet. Okay, now from login servlet to first servlet. Okay, we need to send first name and last name as well as, okay, along with first name and last name, we need to send even username and password also. Earlier, how we used to send them means, we used to send them as hidden form fields. How we used to send username and password from login servlet to first servlet means through hidden form fields. Now we'll send them through URL rewriting. Now what is the URL that goes from login servlet to first servlet? In the login servlet, we submit a form whose URL pattern is hello.first. Okay, this is the URL that goes from, that transfers the request from login servlet to first servlet. We will rewrite this URL. Okay, we rewrite this URL in such a way that, okay, we rewrite the URL in such a way that the URL will be okay. We'll discuss in the evening. How about changing the classes to evening?